while we're having the session today, I coach a lot of IT services firms. That's all I do. I basically have ongoing about 30 clients that I work with, and they're all different sizes. They're small, medium, and large. And some of the large ones have been with me for the last 7, 8 years, and I've been coaching them through to a point where they've become fairly successful and done amazing things, gone global, done a whole lot of stuff. I basically have an IT services background for 30 plus years, 33 years, whatever. I've been in this industry for my whole life. I had a top consultancy firm over 20 mil, 20.3 mil when we sold it in December 2012 to NTT Data. I've gone on to do multiple things very similar to that and started coaching by a default sort of thing, as you all do. I didn't put my hand up to become a coach. I sort of got onto some non-exec boards, realized that that's hell of a boring, and then got into coaching. I do a whole lot of other things outside of IT services as well. So for those that get to know me, either follow me on Facebook or follow me on LinkedIn, probably get to know that I do other things. I've got a couple of breweries, for example. I do fun things around that. Got commercial property and a whole lot of stuff. But those are sort of more silent. 90% of my energy Monday to Friday is on loading growth and the services that we provide for our coaching for our clients. Okay. One of the things I really want to just talk a bit about is a saying that I have. And it's really, really difficult, even when I say it myself. It's quite a sad saying, but it's unfortunately very, very true. So when I say the saying, I just want you guys to really think about it. Hell of important to think about it, because this is what really it's all about. And it's not about the type of services we deploy. But yes, that goes up and down. There's trends, new stuff, old stuff. We all know that. It's really around the mindset of us as founders or owners or the leadership team of IT services businesses. So we've got to play a big game. We've got to play a big game. I played a big game in 2023, had an awesome year, achieved a lot. One of the things I said to my team earlier before the session started, my health slipped a bit, maybe because it's too many of those calories from those craft beers that I keep on having. But at the end of the day, I played a big game in 2023 and I couldn't do any more. I maxed out everything and I had fun doing it. All right. But the saying that I'm getting to is your past is your future. And that is really sad. Your past is your future. So how you predict and how you went for 2023, you probably reflected that during Christmas break, is what you're potentially going to do in 2024. I have the stats. I've been coaching over 100. We did a count last year, middle of last year. I did over 100 clients that I've worked with in the last 8 years coaching in IT services, over 100. And it's amazing. I keep track with them. I talk to them. Some have sold the businesses. Some have merged. Some have gone under. There's a lot of things that have happened. Different things have different journeys. So all I'm going to say is a good reflector. If I talk to a customer today, and I do these strategy sessions, 15 to 45 minutes for free, a couple of times a month when I get some spare time for those that want them. And then I see and I do a debug. And then, 2-3 years later, they catch up with me. I pull up the same file on my system. And basically, they haven't progressed. Pretty sad. Pretty sad. Okay. Now, some companies don't have the scale. What they want to do is get more profitable. And I'm a big believer in scale doesn't bring profitability all the time. People think that it does. It doesn't really. Profitability is really, really powerful. And for me, it's all about the money that you take away every day. Are you getting value for it? Or should you shut your business down and go work for someone else and take the stress off? So that's just another thing that I've been doing. And I just want to say this up front. We're also going to do about 6 of these events this year. And we're putting them onto tribes. Everything gets recorded, gets put onto our internal platform called the Tribe, which is offcircle.so or something like that. The team would have sent stuff to you and all that in the past. Get access to that. You will get certain things for free. I'm a big believer trying to move this community forward. There will be things there that obviously you have to pay for as well, my coaching programs and everything else. And the get-togethers that we have around Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne, we get together at least once a year, at least in those locations, for those people that are paid members and are willing to share the experiences with things that happen. Okay, I'm not here much to talk about that. What I want to do is give you value today. And then if you've got problems, reach out to me at some stage. But I know when you go through this work, it's a lot of work you got to do. Okay. If you do not do this or some part of this, unfortunately, you're not going to be successful. And I know that because of amount of companies I benchmark against. I've got a roadmap that I send out a questionnaire once a year. I benchmark that globally. It's amazing. If you're not prepared for success, you will not get there. All right. It's a GPS. You've got to have a GPS. Otherwise, you end up arguing with your co-pilot, your partner or co-founder or your leadership team or your team members or your whatever it is of how to go from A to B. And that's hell of important. Okay, so any questions here, just jump onto chat. I've got the team there that will actually help you through the chat and hopefully, hopefully basically, just get involved as much as possible because this is what the session's about. Okay. All right, I think I've said enough. I think at 10 past, we're supposed to crack on to the next session. People ask me why I coach, last thing. Probably a couple of reasons why I coach. And I suppose when I sold my IT services business back in December 2012, I basically tried to do a few things and got really bored and realized that I've got to keep on going. I've only then worked out that I love working. I get up at 5:30 some days, even earlier, to help clients and get involved in their businesses, make sure that they basically succeed. They call me a partner. So some of my clients don't call me a service provider or a consultant or a coach, which is what I am as in sense as a coach, but more of a partner. I actually a partner in the business long term. That's what I want to be with clients, see how they grow and see what they do and all those type of things. Okay. All right. So what is the name of that company? Which company is that, Stefan Trials? Quickly, you can't see. Is it the company I sold in 2012? There we go. I was reading your mind. There you go. You can Google it. Okay. So I was one of the 4 founders, the only founder that was actually left in the business when we sold. Everyone else basically had really retired because we were doing fairly well. Anyway, enough on that. Well, that's one of the reasons. Other reasons is because I love to be part of the journey. I love to see how people, take a small business and escalate up to, 200, 300 consultants can go global if you want to do that, or if you want to go profit, it doesn't really matter. So that's the other thing is I live through my clients and it's awesome. So I go and have, Christmas party functions with them. I do as much as I can with the bigger clients. The clients pay me a bit more cash and it's great fun. And that's great. All right. So Stephen, you're asking a bit more. Is it Everest? That's this program. Program. Is that what you're asking? All right. Anyway, the company I sold is Intelligence, the one above. Oh, sorry. I sent that to a direct message. Sorry. I don't know why I'm on group chat. Hopefully you see that. Sorry. My bad. Got too many screens open. Did you get that, Stephen? Thanks. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So anyway, enough on that. Go to my site. I've got a lot of recommendations and a lot of people that I've worked with if you are really worried about who I am and all those things, which I think is important. All right. So moving on to the next screen, okay, which has been up there, and that's really around the agenda. What we're going to try and do, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. And I don't want to end up, folks, I just don't want to be very mindful here. I don't want to end up overwhelming you. So the team's come up with a plan for me to execute today with you guys. I'm going to do about 30 minutes potentially on each topic. These are important topics for the beginning of the year. So I've taken a lot of my clients through this in December, and a few I'm going to verify a lot of the same stuff is what I do with you today over the next couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks. So this is what we do internally with our clients, okay? And so it's a lot extra, but you get the gist of it, and enough to get on and do some stuff yourself if you don't get engaged with us. And that's the most important thing about it. So I just want to make sure that you all understand that and are very comfortable with that. Okay, so back onto the slides. Okay, so we're going to do a one-page strategic plan. Folks, this is really critical. All right. The reason why I do this one-page strategic plan, it's something that you or your team, you might be three guys. You could be 30, you could be 100. It doesn't matter. You need a plan. And a basic plan is better than nothing. And that's what the one-page strategic plan is. I have clients that come to me with 40, 60 pages. There might be 30 people. I go, mate, how long did it take you to do that? And he goes, yeah, it's taking me 3 weeks to do this. And I go, wow, that's awesome. But how much of it's really changed? It changes all the time. So the one-page strategic plan is actually something you print out into one slot. We put it into 4 or 5 PowerPoint slides just to make it easier. But what I would say is once you've got it up and running for your organization, stick it up on the wall, make sure you're living and breathing it. And when you're hiring, look at the values, looking at the numbers. If you're doing things, make sure you go back to the plan, back to the one-page strategic plan. It's really important. So when you cover that, there's a link there. You'll see the team has probably given you that stuff as well. A QBR, hell of important. This is once a quarter. You get together as the team and you reflect on where you are as a business. What's working, what's not working. Do retros. Retros around sales, retro around delivery, retro around hiring people. Work out what's right, what's not right. Just be careful. Once again, the plan, step 1. Step 2 is you do a QBR. Make sure that you don't get overwhelmed. A lot of people, when I go and join them and start up coaching with them, they show me 100, well, not 100, probably about 40 to 50 initiatives on a spreadsheet saying, Ian, this is what the team's going to deliver over the next year. I go, you're joking. Load of bullshit. You're not even going to deliver anything like it. Why do you know? Because I've been doing this for a long time. I'm working in everyone's businesses all the time. I understand what's working, not working. You're overloading yourselves with initiatives internally. We are tech people, and what we love stuff is, something new comes up, take that, let's put that into the business. Let's see that working. Let's see if that works. Okay. And it doesn't work. We're overloading ourselves. We've got to be talking to clients 90% of the time, or 80% of the time if you're in sales, or if you're the CEO, 80% of the time talking to clients, 20% of the time talking to your team, and hopefully you have a team underneath you delivering. If you're the one-man band, well, you're going to do 50% or 30% sales, 40% sales, and the rest is delivery. You've got to scale it to where you're at. Okay. The next thing is that marketing plan. I've got an extensive marketing plan. This is everything. This is everything you need to do a small business to a large business. We've got roadmaps to take our clients on. And one of the main things is around marketing. No one likes doing marketing in IT services. They hate it. We're going to do lead gen. We're going to do automation. We're going to do cold emails. Load of bullshit. Doesn't work. Fucking breaks your brand. You've got to do the hard yards, takes time, and that's marketing. In fact, about 6 years ago, one of my large clients came to me and said to me, look, we're not doing marketing in. Why aren't we, why don't you go and create a team for us? Now, I've had teams in India. I've had teams offshore. I've helped clients grow and create teams in other countries as well to service Australia. Okay. So I know how to do that. It's hard. It's not easy. So eventually I went away and I created a team in the Philippines, and that team now basically services me at Loading Growth, but also services the ITVA. And they're the guys that are running this webinar for me today. So I don't do nothing. I just focus on what I need to do to make sure my clients move forward in that roadmap along that journey. All right. But they look after this marketing calendar and everything else for me, and they do it for a lot of my clients already. Okay. So we're going to get them to jump in because I need a breather. And it's my first sort of session since I've got back and holiday. So my legs are pretty tired by then. So I'm going to do a breather. I'm going to get PJ and Ange to jump on and do a quick session on how to run a successful webinar, which is still brilliant, which is still gold. Okay. And there's lots of reasons why. You take this webinar, you can cut it up and repurpose it into so much content that lasts for you for 3 or 4 months on LinkedIn, on email marketing, and automation, all those type of things. So just bear that in mind. This is what we use this webinar for, is exactly primarily that. All right. So IT services, they do VAs, all that stuff in the Philippines. I'm off to see them in 2 weeks' time. So I can't wait to see those in Philippines. Going to catch up with them. I'm off to Canberra next week, Monday, Tuesday. Sydney, I've got a session on tomorrow. And then I'm off to Indonesia, Bali, to catch up with a client or two, as well as one of my coaches. I've got multiple coaches that look after me. So I'm basically going to Bali. So we're going to meet in Bali, make a bit of a change for a week, do some work there, but I'm still been working remotely. Okay. The last thing is the preloaded calendar. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of time left for that. That's where this all comes together. Now, when people see my calendar, they go, wow, Ian, that's just crazy. How can you actually put so much into that calendar? And it's really important to realize it takes time. It's about the third or fourth year, maybe probably longer, fifth year I'm doing this calendar. It takes me 3 or 4 weeks to get this calendar right. And then it's virtually done for the rest of the year. And I do it normally in November, finish off in December before going on holiday. Bang, the next year, the calendar's there. I'm execution mode, and that's really powerful. And most of you guys, with all the sort of tests that we've done with our clients, and I've done with my own companies and everything else, execution, we're great at. Planning, hard. Okay. Problem solving, great at. Okay. So we just got to remember what we're really good at is actually execution and solving problems. And that's what most tech people do, professional services do. So we got to have a plan so we can execute. And that's what that is all about. All right. Any questions as I jump on? Got the workbooks there. Fantastic. Let's get into strategic plan. By the way, these are the sessions we run. The Q&A session is generally, for those that want to come on, is on 10 to 11 on a Tuesday, and learning sessions is generally on a 10 to 11 Sydney time. And we've got a whole catalog of stuff. So if you get stuck on something in a roadmap, I show you where to go, and you just go and watch a video, then you come back to us if you've got any challenges, and that's how we progress. All right, on the one page strategy map plan, one of the things we want to really do is work out what our core values are. Hell of important. People forget about this. Okay, it's amazing how people forget about this. But if you want to hire the right people, and if you want to deliver the right projects and win the right work and carry on, you've got to have the right value, okay, of the type of person that wants to work with you. All right. So if you're alpha male and you bang, I'm a tough guy, all that sort of stuff, unfortunately, you're going to hire those type of people. Now, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But what you really need is you need to be basically what's the mix of values we need within this company. And that's why you need 5 to 6 values that you should have, and what are the values that you shouldn't have. So what you should do is just make a list of what you should have and what you shouldn't have. Really good for hiring, very good for keeping things in step and making sure we're doing the right things within the organization. Okay, if you want this organization that you're running, your business you're running, to last long and actually give you value at the end of the day, then you've got to actually make sure that the value system is in the correct place. Like I've had an old saying is, hey, if I can't basically go and have a meal with a person or a beer with a person, then that person doesn't work for us. Okay, when you have 115 people working for you in one go, you've got to realize it's all about people. All right, people is our business. Yes, you're going to have software and services and all that stuff and packaged offerings and all that stuff we teach. There is different stuff, but really at the core fundamental of our business, folks, as a product is people. All right, people. If you don't understand that and you don't want to understand people and you're not good with people, then hire someone who's going to be your person who's going to look after the people. Otherwise, you're going to fail. Right? This is a people's business. This is our real product. You got to treat them with respect. You got to make sure that they're happy, and you got to keep them, pump them up. Right? A lot of stats around the world have been on companies where average people output is on about 60% par, 60% out of 100, obviously, of what they're actually giving back to the company. They're delivering. Scary. Imagine if you got them to 80%. You wouldn't need to hire another couple of people, and the output would be better. The quality, the communication, all these things are about better. So really, it's around the value system that you have. Write them down, argue the value system within your company. Speak to people who just hired or recruited. Speak to people that used to work with you. Speak to everyone else. Find out what they think of the value systems. Don't just go and Google it or OpenAI it or GPT it. It's a load of bullshit. You've got to actually really dig deep on this point and come up with your value system. Okay. Now, we're going to go on to the next sort of slide. And that slide it's a big thing. Now, what's your purpose? Okay. Why are you doing this? So my purpose is coaching, is giving back to community, keeping me busy, high-fiving people that I've become really good friends with, because 6-7 years later, they're my clients, and we go to Bali and spend a week, 2-3 days having fun, and the rest working hard. How cool is that? That's what I like. Okay, so that's what I do. Okay, I travel around the world. I've just been to Mauritius, I went to Dubai, went to Singapore on the way home for my December holidays. I caught up with people in Dubai. I caught up with people in Singapore. People I worked with, people used to work for me, vice versa, whatever. I've, clients, a whole lot. I've done an awesome holiday and I love it. Okay. So my purpose is to enjoy myself and have fun as much as possible, and also leave a bit of a legacy for my family, my kids. Okay. So what's your purpose? Now, this is quite hard. A lot of people get confused. All right. Just sit down and think, why? Why are you actually doing this? Is it freedom? Is it actually, a mechanism to make money? Right? People come to me all the time and say, Ian, do I invest in buying a house, or do I invest in my IT services business? And I say, mate, if you want to really have a business and you really want to make money, screw the house. Make sure the business makes money. Okay. You can grow. Yes, property's going up 5-10%, whatever it is, 5%. I've got a lot of commercial property and I've got a lot of residential property, but I only made my money once the machine that I built became a cash machine to do so. Okay. So believe me when I say this, yes, property goes up, you don't have to do anything about it, and you get a rental person. But really, at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is invest in yourself and make sure your business is a machine, a cash machine. And that cash machine can actually then feed other investments that you want to do afterwards or when you have time. Okay. So the purpose could be multiple different things. Definitely different things. If you've got a bigger team, it's not about you as a person. It's about them. It's about you still as a person. What do you want to do? Do you want to go down to 3 days a week? Do you want to have Mondays and Fridays off? Do you want to have 6 to 8 weeks off holiday? Some of my clients are doing this. 6 to 8 weeks holiday. I do 10 weeks overseas a year on holiday. And I'm working like a machine in between. All right. Because I know I've got 10 weeks off. I can download. All right. So come up with a purpose, come up with whys, all this you need to do. The big, hairy, audacious goal. What are you going to do with that? Okay. What are you going to do with that? All right. So once you've done that, the next thing is the targets. And I'll start backwards. So start backwards, folks. All right. Don't start at the beginning, like year 1, year 2, year 3. Think big, go big, start at year 3. What's your year 3? All right. Have a look at year 3. Targets. Okay. Think about your future dates. Write that in. The revenue you want to get to. All right. The profit, the margin. This is so important, folks. Margin. It's all about profit. It's no point saying, hey, I've got 50 guys working for me and, I'm a big guy and I do all these great things, or girl or whatever. You feel good. It's a vanity metric and all these things. But at the end of the day, you're taking peanuts home. That's crazy. Let's get that margin right. Let's get that profitability right. Let's get that EBIT right. Let's make money, because this isn't easy. All right. So let's keep focused on that. And I've got a whole process that we use to make sure that we get people refined on the profit first model. Okay. These are the things you guys can work through. Do you have any of these? Now, it depends on where you are. Some people go and say, hey, I need to hire an internal operations person, or get a VA that can do a lot of my stuff part-time. That's, let's get a VA first. Don't go to hire a 90 grand person here. Get a VA for 45 grand a year. You know what I mean? And does all the work that the VA, and is quite skilled. And then eventually get rid of the VA and get the hired person when you're ready. But that means you're getting that 60 grand or whatever it is, 30 grand or 40 grand left over to put back in your pocket. That's what I mean by boxing clearly. All right. Key capabilities. What are the key capabilities you want to do? Is it security? It could be security services. It could be, more or less like, I'm just trying to think. So it could be something to do with BI. It could be analytics, whatever. It could be AI, whatever it is, guys. What are your key capabilities when you look forward in 3 years' time? So yes, you might be at ground zero at the moment. Yes, you might not be doing much at the moment in certain areas. But what are you going to be looking like in 3 years' time? So in 3 years' time, you're going to say to myself, am I going to be doing this? Am I going to be doing that? Now, we don't really know. I mean, AI came out a year and a half ago. I was on it, 6 months before we even became famous personally, but don't know why everyone else wasn't. But I love it, and I think it's great. It's going to change a lot of things. There's going to be other things coming along, I'm sure, the next 3 years. Okay, so let's put down what we think is going to be in 3 years' time. Let's think about what we need to be working to get there. And it could be the same stuff you're doing right now. Doesn't have to change. Okay, what's a brand promise? So I used to do services for some of the largest organizations in Australia. And I used to say to the CFO or anyone else who would listen to me when they're signing off a contract, hey guys, I'm just going to be telling you straight up, if you don't like this work we're doing, the buck stops with me. Don't pay us. Simple. Because if you're not satisfied, then you shouldn't be paying us. Simple as that. And you should have that honest discussion. If there's a problem and you're not happy, phone me. 100 people plus. That's what you used to say. Because that's what my brand promise was at the time. And my brand promise was, if you're not happy with anything, don't pay for it. If you go out to a restaurant, a good restaurant, and you buy a steak and the steak is shit house, okay, and you're not happy for it, don't pay for it. All right? Because it's your money. Don't. Just harden up and say, hey, look, I'm not really happy with that. Send half of it back or whatever it is. Ask them to cook more of it, whatever it is. Don't be happy with it. It's the same thing as someone buys services from you. If your team is not doing a good enough job and they're not happy with it, and you're not asking them, that's another problem. But then, what are you going to do about it? What's your brand promise? Okay. Now, there's different types of brand promises. Think about it, put them down, but you got to live and breathe them. You got to start to aim for them to get there. That's the hell of important thing. The next thing we're going to talk about is our goals for 2 years. Slightly different. Then it's the goals for 1 year. And then basically it's the OKRs, the objectives. All right. Now, how does that suit everyone? If you do that, now there is different ways you can do this. You just grab this template, you go 3, 2, and then 1. You can add things to this, but what I would love you guys to really, really do is once you fill this out, give me a shout. Just say, hey, you filled out the 1-page plan, whatever it is, to whatever extent. Doesn't have to be, at least it's got half to 3/4 in there. I'm keen to basically go through it with you. Just give me a 15, 20-minute, the links are there. Give me, a shout, and then basically I'll jump on a call with you and go through it. Okay. And I'll help you. And then you can come back and, sense check things later on if you need to be. All right. So that's how important. You print it out and you put it up around your desk or your office or your boardroom, whatever it is. And make sure that you're actually looking at it every day. Because if it's in your Outlook pack in your, on your OneDrive or something, you're not going to look at it. I have all my stuff on my office there. You won't see it. I haven't got this camera on, the file camera on, but it basically has every plan that I'm doing for the year for 2024. I'll look at it. I stand up when I need to get a bit of a refresher or come back from the toilet. I just glance at it, look at it, remind myself, yes, on track. No, I'm on track. Fix it up. And then when I've done a bit, I'll just rip it off, update it, soft copy another, print out another. I'll tell you this, guys, why this is so important to do a plan. If you can't do a plan, it's like going from A to B. So when I used to work in the UK, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, I used to argue. The only time we argued was when we got in a car and we had to use the damn A to Z. And I was working in Europe, but lived in the UK at the time. And I would, wherever we went, it was Germany. We have an AZ or something very similar to the AZ. And we used to, like, which side is it up, upside down? Crazy. Arguments all the time. And then one day I was actually flying to Germany, and on the airport, inside the actual walkway onto the plane, it was this thing called GPS. And it had this little GPS screen. The first one ever came out. And the headline was, "Stop arguments with your wife." And I read that and I said, oh my God, I'm buying that thing. Where'd I get it? And within 24 hours, I've bought one. Never had an argument with my wife ever again around driving. Okay. This is the same thing. If you're the only person, you've got to do this lightweight so you don't have arguments. You don't wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. What have I got to do next? No. You know what you've got to do next. You've got to go back to the plan that you set up to execute on. If you don't do that, You're going to argue with yourself or your partners or whatever. A lot of times I'm actually a referee between the bigger the companies are, the more challenges people have, because they always every day come up with a new idea and they're arguing with each other. And they actually, like I'm a divorce coach sometimes, right? And if you don't have a plan that everyone agrees on, everyone sets up, then that's what you're going to end up. So if you don't do this, your past will be, as in 2023 will be what 2024 is. You've got to change that. And this is the one key factor. Okay, no questions. I can't, got to chat. Your point on poor quality of service or product where you don't ask for compensation. Do you think that person is even ready for business? Good question, Nadeem. Your point on poor quality of your service or your product. Okay, let me put it this way. When you get big and you're growing and you're winning work and you think you do, and you're hiring people and they actually go out on site for the first time without you, and you just think, I've interviewed them, I know them, got referred, whatever. You've done a whole lot of checks. They're going to do the thing that you think, and they're going to do it slightly differently. So if you're going to install something and do some services, unfortunately, what happens is those people won't do it the same way as you do it, because you don't have methodology, you don't have an approach, you haven't coached them yourselves as business owners. So what actually happens is people get to like 5 to 10 people, they are pumped and they're doing well, and suddenly I can't be on that client. I've won that opportunity. I'm sending Jeff over there, and Jeff goes over there and he delivers what he thinks is great, but what you think is average, and what the client thinks is shit. That's what happens. So the misalignment happens at about 10 people. And unfortunately, 10 to 30 people, you have to reinvest in your company. Went to 30 people. So 10 people, you're really profitable. 30, you lose margin. 30 to 90, you actually sort of gain margin, and lose margin again. And then 90, you start to gain more margin, if that makes sense. Okay, don't have to see my ugly face. This is the year for 2024. I think that's 2024, folks. All right. And you've got all these things you want to do in your business. It's fantastic. I love it. But what you need is the one-page strategy document, which I just talked about. And yes, guys, that changes. On a quarter basis, you look at it and go, bang, bang, bang. Let's take that out. Let's review it. Let's update it, which is what I want to talk about next. Nothing's set in stone, but you've got to be in a situation where you actually are agile enough, but not too agile that you don't service the customers and carry on winning work. All right, that's the biggest trap. All right, I see companies that I spoke to 5 years ago come to me doing 3 mil turnover, gone under the business, gone out of business. All right, because they don't systematically run out of energy, get burnt out, and all these things. So this is what you've got to do. Have a one-page strategy, which I spoke about, and then every quarter, you need to basically do a QBR. Now, QBR, I want to go through now what that is in detail. Now, some big companies, actually majority big companies on the stock exchange, worldwide, whatever, you do a QBR. Everyone does a QBR. Okay. So a lot of clients, even 30 people that I coach, don't do QBRs. And they hate it. You know why they hate it? Because the leadership team gets in there and we've got to count. People got to be accountable. When you're 30 people, you've got people's salaries and responsibilities. People got families and houses, mortgages. You've got to make sure that we as owners or leadership team are accountable to those that actually attend are working for us. That's our responsibility. You're responsible to giving them bonuses. You're responsible for giving them a pay increase when inflation hits, like it did last 18 months. These are things we're responsible as business owners. So you've got to have these things set up in place. You've got to have these things set up in place to make sure that you can actually run a successful QBR. So QBR is a review point. You do your review, and then you feed back to basically the plan. And that's what you do. Just keep on feeding back to the plan. And eventually you'll see how you're going. Right? Then the following year, you just in this rhythm and routine. In between a QBR, you have a monthly meeting. In between a monthly meeting, you have a weekly meeting. Different things, not the same stuff, different things you look at. That's how you've got to think about it. Now, if you're a one-man show, simple, do the same thing. Set some time to go off site and do the QBR. Set some time to go and do a weekly meeting. Keep yourselves and review yourself against that. You see, if you're a business owner, you're a shareholder. Some people don't think like that. So we had a chairman who came and joined us in my first business many years ago. And 2006, we got a chairman. And the first thing he said to us is, hey, Ian, we've got to make sure that you guys treat this business with respect. I was like, what do you mean? I'm the business owner. What does that mean? And basically what he was saying is he was saying, this isn't my business. This is my family's business. That's how I got to look at it. It's in a trust owned by my family. Okay, part of it because I had business partners. But he was really, really clever. And I thought about it. It took me 2-3 months to really click. I've got to treat this as not my business. I've got to treat this as my family's business. I'm taking time away. I'm working 60-hour weeks, 50-hour weeks away from this. I've got to treat this as a family business. This is going to change my life. So I got really serious on it, got educated, and got people on it. Okay, that's what I did. And this is the process that gets you through it. Okay, QBR, all these things is what I do with my clients. All right. One of the things I go when I catch up with clients and coach them is what's the weekly flow like? How are you kicking goals? Like, did you kick any wins on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? You've got to reflect. Now, sometimes you can do this yourself in your team. By the way, guys, on a Friday, you can actually look back, okay, and say, what did we achieve Monday to Friday? Not the shit stuff, just the positive stuff. There's a lot of shit stuff happens. Let's keep positive. Let's see what the things we did. Where are we moving forward? So what are the wins? Let's put them down and let's reflect on those wins. Okay? Right? So let's really be honest with ourselves. We are moving. We're doing so many good things. Right? Let's see what the wins are. Let's pat ourselves in the back and let's reflect on what we're doing as an organization. Okay? Now, there's a lot of stuff you can read this through the documentation. Okay? You got to be ready for the QBR. You've got to understand that this is serious. You've got to take it serious. It's not like, hey, we just do another Teams call with 2 or 3 people in my company or 30 people. We are going to do this properly. All right? You start to think about it and you start to project what a QBR looks like and you start to act like a real business owner, like a shareholder should respect his business. Respect your business. You'll start to make a lot more money. All right, so you want to define the topics 2 to 3 weeks out. Like Jeff and let's say Jeff and Ian run this business. Jeff, let's have a QBR. I've got a calendar for it. We've got it in our calendar. Let's book it out right now. When's your holidays? Let's book those out. No, bang. Okay, we've got a QBRs. What's the objectives for that first QBR? And what are the things we need to bring up as a QBR? Let's write that down. And it needs to be done 2 to 3 weeks out. So we know we've got time to think about it. We just don't arrive at the meeting and someone puts up, hey, something happened. Let's talk about it. No, that's bullshit. Doesn't work that way. You can't actually solve something really deep if there's a problem like that. And if it's too small, put that into your daily huddle. If it's so easy to solve, it's not part of the QBR. What you should do is look at your key metrics. You could just log on to Xero and have a look at some of the stuff. Right? Xero is brilliant. You can look at that stuff very quickly. Then you can look at the other key metrics because it's more there. And you can then look at, review internal projects. Now this, folks, for a company of 30 people, okay, I'm just going to go through this quickly. You should do max 2 projects, internal projects at a time. Max 1 project if you're 10. Like really, I'm talking about a project. We do 6-week cycles, 2 weeks off. I coach clients through this because you know what? We've all done PMP. We've all done all this, hardcore project management stuff, waterfall approach, agile, a load of shit when it comes to running a business. But we need quick wins. We're not making cash enough to go and blow cash. I've come to clients, I've seen they spent $1 million on internal projects in a year and go like, what value have you got out of it? And they say, oh yeah, maybe not. You know what I mean? You go, wow, that's just ridiculous. All right. So what I'm going to say very hard is you've got to come up with a process. We do have a process to validate, to actually see what that is. We look at our roadmap, and from our roadmap, we work out what's your next project, and we make sure you're successful in that project. Okay. So anyway, let's just quickly go through this here, folks. Key metrics on a project, we know what they are. We just want that and we utilize the 6-week game plan. But keep it short and make sure you got a budget and make sure you got time against it and availability to it. So don't do too many. If you're 10-man size or a 30-man size, that's it. If you get to like 90, it's 3. Okay, not many. All right, any questions at the moment? Keep on flying them through. I'll get to them at the end. The next thing is, one of the things you really should do at a QBR is get customer feedback. Most of the clients I talk to, folks, are like this. That's the client, and everyone in the whole company is focused on them. So let me just draw this. Been 3 weeks off on amazing holiday. This is them. It's all they can do is talk about themselves. It's like, wow, crazy, man. Crazy stuff. Like, every time you have a meeting on anything, you should have a spare chair in your office. You bring that chair, you can write customer, and you can stick it like a little sticker on the customer. And in every meeting, you could say, hey, Mr. Customer, what do you think? Is this adding value to you as a customer? Yeah, these are the things. Would you talk to that person? Would you talk the way you do? Like, I go to clients and they're scathing about the customer. They hate the customer. I'm going, wait, how much did the customer pay you for the last year? Wow. And you talk about them or behind your back. You should show some respect. You either get off and start doing better services, or you go and get a better customer. Oh, they treat us badly. No, it's because you're treating them badly, because you don't onboard them correctly. You don't control the client controls you. All these one-on-one things that people just don't understand in services. All right. This is how you've got to maturely get to the next level. But you've got to take that away, guys. And you've got to delete that customer thought, and you've got to become customer-centric. Customer-centric, we know that word. Everyone talks about it all the time, but we don't actually follow it through. Customers, we've got to be thinking about our customers. So you've got to be able to talk about customer feedback, doing reviews, look at any complaints. Let's see how we can actually see if our customer satisfaction increases over the next 6 months to a year. Send them a quick survey, 4 questions, bang, bang, bang. That's what you've got to do. People actually respond to that stuff. You can't believe it. Our clients do it all the time. Short ones. Don't send them a freaking 10-minute thing. No one wants to do it. It's like 4 or 5, questions. That's it. Done in 30 seconds. And they can do it on the phone. Bang, 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 bang. Gone. It's cheap as. Don't send a Microsoft form to fill out or a Google form and all that shit. That's a little bullshit. There's a lot of other stuff on the web that does it really quickly on your phone. Okay. Then you also want to then talk about at your QBR how your staff are performing. Now, once again, staff, as I keep on saying, are the most important thing that you have. All right. It's not the services. It's not the software that you provide or the services you provide around that. It's the staff. And people just don't understand that. I talk to people all the time, folks. I'm going to really want to get an eye shot here for you. Got to understand what's your quality of your staff like. There's a model. There's 3 types of consultancy types of models. We teach this because it's important to understand it. That there, folks, I call is the last one there. I don't know why that actually happened there. Hang on for a second, folks. That there, folks, is the death model. The death model. The last one is the death model. Why is the death model? Because you're unprofitable. You're unprofitable. You're not making money. Sorry, I'm not showing my screen. You can go back. Sorry for a sec. Let's get there. There's the 3 model. That there is the death model. That there is you semi-overweight. Not good. This there is, you like the big 4, like really big consultancy firms. You can't really get there. And you don't want it because the culture is very different. You want to be in between here. That's where you want to be. How many people here know what the EBIT is up to December last year? If you're not doing at least 20% EBIT, then you've got a bit of a problem. Some people are doing 3%. That's not a business, guys. That's on life support. You get one thing goes wrong, and off you go. All right. So all I'm going to say is make sure that you understand. Most people, when I go and talk to them, decent sized companies, don't even know what the EBIT is. Okay. Just have 2-3 metrics to know. Talk about those at the QBR. And the other thing is evaluate your performance of your staff, because they are so important. They're the things that actually win your work. If you hire a great person, I was with a client earlier this week. They hired a great person. Guess what? That person bring in about a year contract. A year contract for a client, a national client. I spoke to another client this week, brand new person, starting the 15th of Jan, but has already bought in 200 grand. That's what you call hiring talent. That's what you call A team players, the A graders. We talk a bit about grading your staff. You've got to know where your staff are, ABCs. Otherwise, you're not going to grow your company. If you don't have A grade players, good luck. Yes, you need a mixture of A, B, and C, without a doubt, but you've got to have A graders. If you don't have A graders and you're B or C graders, you've got a problem. You're not going to grow. Right? Buy or hire, whatever you do, steal the best staff that are in your niche and bring them over to your company. That's what you got to do. Okay. All right. Just having a look at the time. What's my time like? How am I going? When's my next session? Team, sorry. Someone let me know. I didn't bring should have printed that slide out. Sorry, don't want to rush stuff through. All right. So once you do your budget and your resource allocation, just think about this. Have a look at the tools, infrastructure. There's so much stuff we buy that we don't use and we, get rid of. If you want to get to profitability, like really good profitability, make sure you look at these things. Make sure you have a budget for it. Okay. Make sure that you are on top of your costs. Profit is everything. Profit is cash in your back pocket. All right. Look at those costs. Again, go through that. Competition. In your QBR, spend a bit of time. How long is this QBR? Because there's a lot of stuff in here. You're probably thinking, well, the bigger they are, the longer it takes, unfortunately. Some QBRs with companies that are, 30 to 60, 90 people are basically doing a whole day, once a quarter. By then, they've got a management team that's hardly billable. Like there might be 3 or 4 people that are billable, like 20%, 30% billable. Okay, just cover the costs. But if you're doing this and you've got your own business partner and you've got a team of 10 people, take a Saturday off, go to Barrel if you're in Sydney, or go to a Morning Peninsula, or go somewhere up the Sunshine Coast. It depends where you are. Go make a weekend of it. Sit down and actually spend 5 to 6 hours, and then go and do something in the afternoon, go for dinner or something, spend time and really think about what you're doing with your business. But the one thing you want to do is understand where your competition is. Don't spend too much time thinking about a competition. I'm a big believer. Just spend, this is what we've been seeing in the market. Let's put this together. Let's see how we can compete, or do we need to compete, and what are they doing, what they're doing. Don't think about it every day of the week. You've got to be on sales and delivery. Really important. But look at their market share, evaluate it, see what's actually happening, see where they're at. Speak to vendors, IT software vendors, if your services only partner. See who's the competition. Make sure you know where they're going as much as possible, because you obviously don't have an open book. But discuss, and work on what are your strategies, from you and your competitors. Make sure there's a value prop to make sure that you actually get anywhere. Okay, security is getting bigger and bigger. I only put this in last year, guys, believe it or not. I only started telling our clients to do this last year. I don't know why. Crazy, but it needs to happen. Data privacy, security policies, all those stuff. Offboarding and staff. I know so many clients have recently had to sue staff for offboarding, taking laptops. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or not, but taking codes and IP stuff and all that stuff that you shouldn't be doing, and login details. Disgusting. But you just got to make sure offboarding, and they understand their responsibilities when they offboard from the company. All these type of things need to be involved and up and run. And this is the last piece: is once you've done your QBR, you're going to have a lot of stuff. Have a couple of whiteboards, or if you're virtual or whatever, have a couple of screens or Word docs. Make sure you develop your next plan of action. Make sure that you actually got to make sure that you in a situation where you can develop a plan that you can take action on. Now, problem with this is going back to when I see a lot of people that have like 40 initiatives. Oh, we got all these things. And all they do is get worn down. They get worn down. They go, oh my gosh, Ian, this is killing me. We're not doing these initiatives. Let's get done at 30% and we move on to the next one. We can't use it, but it's still there. We can't get rid of it. We can't, just do 3 or 4, little things. And if a little project goes into a project for 6 weeks, then it's 1 or 2 things or wherever you are in your size. Make sure you're actually taking money out of your back pocket. Make sure you're getting value for those. Okay. Make sure you've got your action plan to set out. So if you're going to fire people, that's good. That's not a project, but you've got to make sure you've got, the priorities documented. And it could be in Planner. Okay. It could be in Microsoft, whatever it is. Just make sure you understand where they're at. Make sure everyone's got access to it, and off you go. Okay. Please, there's no point doing a QBR if you don't know what the actions and the outputs of the actions are. Okay. This is for my team. When I come and visit you in Philippines in a week and a half's time, we're going to be doing a lot of this activity ourselves. I'm going to run this as well through this methodology. I know some of you already know it, but that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using this internally ourselves. Okay. All right. Then sometimes, I'm just going to take a quick breather. Sometimes a lot of people are, the leadership team attends the QBR. It might just be the whole company. It doesn't matter how you want to run it. There's different ways. But let's say in principle, there's 4 people that run, or in theory, 4 people that are in the QBR. You might have a bookkeeper or part-time accountant. That person can come in for like 20 minutes, show the accounts and leave. That's how it should go. The next thing is you might have 2 out of those 4 people that are actually shareholders. And they actually are directors, technically real directors. Okay, not consulting directors, but directors of the company. Great time then is to set aside, take those minutes, okay? All right, take those minutes and basically put them into a board meeting pack, 1-pager, right? Board meetings on top. And then you actually listen this down and you sign it off, and this is what we're going to do. So you've got a minute, you've got a whole lot of stuff that's happening in between, making sure that you're actually executing all the stuff. Okay. So it's important. So when you have at any moment, you have a misalignment or a bit of conflict internally between the 2 directors, you go back to the board meeting stuff and say, look, this is what we said. We're going to try X, Y, Z. This is what we're doing. All right. And, that's how we're going to operate. Let's not do all these other things. Let's have our mandate. This is what we're going to do. We don't want to waste energy freaking fighting about stuff. It's not about, guys, sometimes this is what it's crazy. It's not about getting everything right the whole time. Okay. So I'm going to say this really important. It's not about getting it right all the time. It's about just doing stuff. Like, I look at someone's strategy, go, Ian, is this strategy the best strategy like we could ever have? I don't really care. Look at me and go, what are you talking about? I think it could be 50% right. But if you execute that, you're going to be 10 times better off than you were 3 months ago or 6 months ago, because they've got a plan, because they're actually moving forward. They're going back a couple of steps, but they're moving forward 3 or 4 steps. Okay. So sometimes people say, oh, we've got to spend so much time on this QBR and so much time on this action, on this 1-page strategy stuff. Don't. Just spend an hour or 2 for each section, go away, think about it. So bang, you could knock it all out in a week, in between a whole lot of other stuff. And then you're off to go, ready to go. And then you know what you've got to do around the QBR. So it's really important, folks, that you actually rather execute stuff than not actually execute anything at all. And that's where a lot of people fail. All right. Dan, are you around? Do you want to have a chat on any questions? Anything that you've seen work, not work? Perfect. Where are you? Where are you based?
So we're based on Queen Street in Melbourne.
Nice.
Yeah, we're
Nice
sat in the office at the minute. It's fairly empty, so just sat in an empty room. A lot of people still not back to work. A lot of clients have still got shutdowns on as well, so we're just kind of waiting for work to kick off again next week properly.
Great.
But still, we've got to be chasing sales because we had a couple of knockbacks towards the end of last year, and so yeah, busy time setting the strategy at the moment.
Good stuff.
Looking for a new BDM as well. So yeah, it's a key time to be talking about this kind of thing.
Yeah, look, a BDM is I don't know what area are you in? May I ask?
So we do cloud consulting predominantly. So we're enterprise clients, help them secure their environments and FinOps and a whole bunch of other stuff around IT services. So yeah,
great, perfect. And how big are you? May I ask? Just numbers, man.
I was just looking at the numbers. Yeah, we're about 25 engineers. So yeah, and we have. We kind of are at the inflection point that you were talking about before, where it's like, yeah, we've got to get to that next stage. And yeah, what really rang a bell or kind of resonated with me was the thought around, yeah, we are where we've been the last year or two. So we've really got to sort our strategy things out and get moving forward. So yeah, that's
look, good, Dan. You are roughly at 30 mark. It's you've been investing probably to get to 30 people, and now you have to invest in a few other things to get to 90. If that's your goal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you want to make sure you're doing it at a comfortable pace. So some companies that I coach, I tell them to stay at 20 to 30% growth, no more than that. Like if you do more than that, yeah, it's nice, but so some companies I see go bang, you're going to hire people from 30 to people, 60, 70 people within a year, and then they fall off a cliff the following year, and they've won one or two big projects that's got them to scale it high, and they haven't got the brand or the sales process to actually keep them at that going, and then they fail off, and then they actually have to fire a whole lot of people, permanent people, and that's so expensive. So just be mindful. Make sure that you actually growing within 20 to 30% is what I would say. If it's just pure services, and make sure it's EBIT's focused on 20%. Like if it's not, if you don't know,
Yeah, we have been around that for a good long while, but yeah, we're kind of at the moment we're in because of the knockbacks we've had over the last in the last month or two. Yeah, we're just working out how to get back to that at the minute.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're looking at a bench problem around about kind of February, March time that we just
So look, a lot of my clients had this. So this is good for all your folks to listen to this. So like I see all these numbers. I see a lot of CRMs every week. Okay, I see probably 10 different CRMs. I look at the pipelines. We are so like I've got the certain clients on such a good footing that I can just dial in with them, do a quick call, 15 minutes, have a look at the CRM, see what happens. So around October, this is what started happening. Late September, early October, a lot of the clients' deals they weren't being signed off, and they were being pushed back.
Yeah,
so that's right. So I got everyone together first week of October. All my clients got them on a couple of group calls, and I said, "Look, I'm being honest. I don't know if there's going to be a downturn, which I actually think there isn't going to be one now, by the way. But at that time in September, October, I thought there could be a bit of downturn. I think it's it's not as hot as it was before. And that's what I'm saying now. But when I was back in September, October, I was saying this could be a bit of a downturn. So I said, we're going to come up with a plan. And the plan was this, which is what I'm going to tell you now, is you can probably execute, is get onto Xero, whatever you use, download our last 5 years, whatever it is, of customers you build. All right, if you haven't done this before already, have a look at all customers and see if there are any trees you can shake, and who knows them the best in your team. And then basically get a little plan, put a one-page plan on how to re-engage or get to talk to that customer. Put
100%.
effort.
Yeah, we've already been all over that. Yeah, the last few months. Yeah,
great.
The last month or so. Yeah,
great. So then that was stage one. Stage two is we call it Project Winner. Project Winners. All right, let's download our contacts from LinkedIn. Let's put them into a spreadsheet and let's sort. So this is what the companies are doing. I wasn't doing this. And basically from there, we actually started to come up with some scripts. I created some scripts with different companies, and we started phoning clients or potential clients that they've worked with or known or moved, whatever. There's a whole lot of stuff. Came up the whole list. and they started getting meetings. So they went from some clients got 30 meetings within the space of 8-9 weeks, and have started signing statements of work in November, December, and starting projects already. And February is back on for them. So it's a lot of work to get there. But if that's your situation,
the frustrating thing for us was we were pretty much engaged and about to sign a new deal, and then the rug got pulled right at the end of November, which is, it's one of those things. It's like, well, the work was all lined up, but the rug got pulled at exactly the wrong time for us. So we're kind of scrambling a bit right now.
Yeah, so a lot of the clients, as I was saying, that's what happened. The deals weren't signed.
Yeah.
And some of the clients would go, oh, we'll sign it next month. And they're okay, it's fine. We know we've worked with you 3 years. And then basically, oh, no, we haven't got to sign off. We can't sign off. So that's what we went out and said, you've got to re-engage and get other opportunities and get that pipe fat as possible. But anyway, that's a good stuff. Any questions otherwise, Dan, that you have? Anything else?
Yeah, I've already scheduled a call for next week. So yeah, keen to kind of go through where we're up to with the plan.
Good.
So yeah, we've got
Is that Wednesday? Hopefully it's Wednesday.
It should already be in calendar. But yeah, next week.
Okay, good. All right, thanks. I'm just traveling quite a bit next week, so hopefully I should be able to see you. All right, let's go. Anyone else got? That's an awesome pickup, Dan. Mate, I'm here to help people. So Dan's done that. Don, do you want to ask something? Got anything to say? Do you want to introduce yourself? Also, I'm battling to unmute. It's a blue button. I know, guys. Teams. I'm on Teams all day long. Zoom's got a couple of bits of functionality that Teams, is going to get sorted hopefully this year. Hedy, I know Hedy for a while back. Hedy, are you actually listening in? Nope. Okay, Jag, Peter. Okay, that's right. All good. Someone's joining. How are you going?
Hi, Ian. Jag here.
Jag, how are you going? Yes,
all good. All good. Yeah, I think so far good. Unfortunately, I'm just multitasking with another team, so I'm just playing behind the scenes.
Good. Look, some of the stuff, Jag, some of the stuff is going to be, or all of this will be recorded with the content and put into our tribe circle.platform, and you can watch it again over and over again. Okay, because I don't. So it's all free of charge. Just jump on there and just watch it again, and it's easy that way. I don't want to do this like I'm an IT guy. If you do something the first time, it's great. The second time, it's okay. Third time, I don't want to do it any longer. so like just jump on there, and then if you've got questions, then get back to me. But anyway, tell me a bit about your business. What do you do?
About myself?
Yeah, your business or your team or whatever.
Yeah, business, we are in the cloud migration and SAP world. So we do SAP implementation, SAP testing, SAP security sort of things. So that's our world. But, I think so far good, but obviously every business is going through the downtime.
For sure.
As Don mentioned, so we are going through that as well. But we are planning for a next couple of quarters aggressively to see how we can come back.
Great, good. That's good, Jag. I know SAP well. I was an SAP partner. One of the biggest. That was the company I sold, was an SAP partner. I've got probably got 10 or 11 SAP partners that work with me as I'm their coach. I'm one of the coach that coaches all the SAP partners. So all the ones you see, the bigger ones and smaller ones are mostly are mine. I'm catching with the SAP partner tomorrow. So I understand exactly where you're at with things. It is tough out there at the moment. There's a lot of work coming up. So if you need...
Yeah, I think SAP will going to be okay for the next couple of years because we are going for a ECC to S/4HANA upgrade before 2027. So it will be crazy busy for the next couple of years.
Definitely will be. Look, give me a shot. I know that world quite well. It sounds like you in the you're basically a lot of data migration and everything else. I know all that stuff as well. I was analytics. So give me a shot if you need any help, Jag. That's awesome to hear. Good. Quickly go to Dan. You're not available yet. Anyone else want to shout out? I think we're going to carry on. If not, got another question.
Hi, Ian.
Hedy, yeah. How you going?
Nadeem here.
Sorry, say it again. Who's there?
Nadeem.
Nadine. How you going, Nadine? Great.
Pretty good, thank you. Just a comment. Maybe you can provide some, context or some your observations. So, I run a couple of businesses. One is a digital agency, and then we started a few years back. It's a resource management where we actually provide, skilled resources, both technical and non-technical. And that's an offshore model. So we have in Asia, we have, low cost skill set available for the high end providers, or the service providers like US, UK, and now in Australia. So one of the challenge that we are facing with the business is it seems like we have established a training and learning ground. So people come in, they understand the business, and then they leave, and then they start their own business. And we've been trying to manage that for some time, but we haven't been successful. The business is doing quite well, but the problem is that we are not able to retain good resources for a longer time. And we are constantly, 24/7, just worrying about someone coming in, taking the lead, leaving within 6 months, 3 months, 8 months, and so on. So what's your thought about that?
Mate, are they Pakistan, India? Where are they? They're based?
They are based in Pakistan, Philippines, Indonesia, and India.
Yeah. Okay. So look, I understand that world very well. Very well. I've got a lot of clients that have actually set up teams for offshore as well in those entities. I had an Indian offshore company myself, my previous life, and I know it's difficult. Everyone's trying to make everyone's trying to make money in those environments, and it's quite difficult. So you've got to have a process to identify those top performers as they come through, nab those top performers, and then make sure that you've got a program in place to show them a vision, a future with your organization. So if you don't have a proper mechanism to show them a future for, let's say it's Jeff or Muhammad, or whatever it is coming on team, make sure that you've got an actual future for them in your company. So they'll look at the future, and then they'll compare it for the opportunity outside that future. And if that future still doesn't look good, they'll leave. Right? So what you've got to do is show them that future where they go, wow, look at this. If I stay with this organization, I can go places. It's a real organization. It's doing lots of things for me, my career path, and for my family, everything else. So you've got to have a vision, like a really good vision, and you've got to be able to keep those A, B grade players as they go through your training college over the next 6 months. As they go through the 6 months, you've got a talent place, acquire those talents and put them into your team. Okay, does that help?
Okay. Yeah, it does. We're trying to do that. The problem is that people think that they now understand the business, so they are good, doing that on their own, rather than sticking with us and looking at their future from being an employee. So we're trying to tackle that, but I think I got your point. We're definitely looking at hiring a bigger HR team. We currently have 3 people in HR, but we feel that that's not enough. So we are concentrating on people management in HR at the moment.
Yeah, good point. HR is important. I met a guy called Vern Harnish, and I met him a couple of times. He's written the Rockefeller books. Famous guy. I met him. He's an American guy. And I met him for breakfast one day in Sydney. And he was doing a guest speaking slot. So I got an opportunity to meet him many years ago. And I sat down with him, and I went through a similar thing, a similar problem that I had to your problem. And he turned around to me and said, do you know, how many HR managers have you been through, Ian? Like, we were about 80 people at that stage. I went through, man, I counted them. I said, oh my God, this is quite bad. We're like gone through 6 and 7 years. Right? Now, why was that? The case I could only boil it down to at that point in time is we put so much onto winning work and delivering and not looking after anything else. Okay, so when you say you're going to hire, another HR manager, everything else, just bear in mind, HR managers and that can only do so much. It's the owners of the business or the leadership team that's got to be really engaged when there's a problem like that and you're losing talent. So it doesn't matter how good the HR manager is, they'll always come back to you. They're always going to ask you. They're always going to come back to you, and they're just going to be a person in the middle. So you've got to make sure that you've got a program in place. Like, you spend a lot of time and your effort. This is what it looks like. This is how we're going to keep the best players. So at least, out of 100% of those guys leaving, let's say you do 10 a year and 5 people leave, you keep maybe 7. You know what I mean? You're not going to always keep those people. Okay. But I've got teams of clients. They've got over 60 people in KL at the moment, and they don't lose people at all.
You know we want to be there. We want to be there.
Right.
Absolutely.
They've got 60 people in KL, and they are a machine of a company, and they have got the right things happening, and they know what they're doing. Simple as that. So they've got a vision and they've got a future for people. All right. Good question though. Yes. So Hetty's has said people and culture is HR. People and culture is informed by your values. Now, Hetty, folks, I know quite a while. He's a machine himself. So that is really, really true. Okay. He also said good trip. Yes, I had an awesome trip. Thanks, Hetty. Okay, good stuff, guys. I'm going to jump on and carry on into this next set of slides. And we're going to talk a bit about marketing. Now, I know we all hate marketing, okay? Because we all want to be on site solving customer problems. We all want to be somewhere basically doing things that we love doing and we've been doing it for a long time, and we don't want to change. So the marketing is something that you've got to actually put a bit of effort and time into it. And one of the things I do is have a marketing plan and have a personal calendar plan for all our clients. Okay, so we know exactly what's happening. So when I engage a client, I know exactly what's happening next quarter with the marketing stuff. So I engaged a client fairly recently, and they said they already know what they're doing this quarter, what campaigns are running, how they're doing it, all these things. Brilliant. That's all I want to know. They've got focus on it, they'll achieve it. Once they've got it written up and they've got time set aside, even if they hit it 50% out of 100 for the quality, it's bloody good. They're going to knock it out the park. Okay. So the problem with sales, and this is for those guys that have a sales problem, which should be all of you guys. And I say that with a bit of a caveat, is, like everything else. It sort of unfortunately works like this. It's marketing into sales. All right. And some people get confused by what activities are marketing and what activities are sales. Sales is when there's an opportunity. It's maybe starts at 0. And obviously when the deal's done and signed, it's 100%. But it's an opportunity. Marketing is about getting people to the 0%. That's what it is. It's keeping people warm. It's identifying who your PFC is. That is the perfect future customer, by the way. It's not some lingo I made up myself, but hopefully one day I'll trademark it. But it's all these things you've got to do in marketing. You've got to make sure that marketing really works. So I actually do this. This is how I explain it to people. That's a funnel. Sorry, it's pretty bad, guys. It's the first funnel of the year. Let me go back and attempt that excuse of a funnel. All right, let me just quickly make sure it's a little bit better than that. Oh, slightly better, not much better. Funnel 1 is the marketing funnel. Second funnel is the sales funnel. And I do this funnel because all the CRMs out there treat everything as a funnel. And so why change the world? So all the things you do here come into marketing. Blogs, LinkedIn events, posts, whatever they are, webinars, physical events. And guys, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this pile if you want to. Don't have to do all of it. And I've got a list. Once again, I've been through this so many times. I've built a list. I've got that list for you guys. It's coming next. If you haven't seen it already, for the ones that downloaded. That list it's a whole lot of stuff. Don't try and do all of it. Just do 2 or 3 things. If you're doing nothing at the moment in marketing, great. That's great because you're at 0. But you can do 1 or 2 things. It's even better. Don't be hard on yourselves. And marketing takes a long time. So it's 6 months to 12 months, 7 to 8 times minimum. And some companies, like for the Jag who's talking to SAP will tell you it's 13 or 14 times at the moment from an SAP perspective to actually get a person from marketing into the sales funnel. It used to be 7 to 8 times in most companies. I know because I talk to SAP all the time, and my clients are there, but I talk to Microsoft and IBM all the time as well. And it's interesting to see what they talk about their marketing stuff, because I'd like to know, I want my team of clients to do really well. So I'm talking to them all the time. So at the end of the day, we've got to make sure, folks, when the stuff drops into here at 0%, we've got the process sorted out here. This is a different process, obviously. This is what you've got to do to get the deal. But to make sure it's fat, to make sure you don't have a scenario where, hey, it's now January, I've got guys on the bench, I've asked them to take leave, and I've forced, trying to curve the bench cost, all these things. You've got to make sure you're investing time in marketing. Now, unfortunately, one thing I didn't say to, I think it was Dan or Don or whoever it was early on, sorry, I forgot your name. A lot of people go, we need to go and hire a BDM guy. Straight away. We've got a sales problem, hire a BDM guy. So sometimes that's not good. Unless the BDM guy is top-notch and comes from an environment that knows that specific services that you're rolling out at clients. Sometimes you arrive in the BDM, the first thing BDM guy says to you is, where's the marketing process and what's happening in marketing? Hey, we're a small company. We don't need marketing. You are the marketing and sales guy. I don't want to do marketing. Different person, different beast. Don't want to do it. Right. So just bear in mind, you've got to get some marketing happening, folks, to get sales working. That's what I'm going to say. And the problem is when we're busy and we're delivering, last thing we want to do is sales. Sales is marketing. Okay. You're looking at a 12-week forecast. By the way, it's one of the key metrics I mentioned in the QBR. Well, I didn't mention, but it's in the QBR pack. 12 weeks out, you need to know what your utilization is. Run your company off 12 weeks out. Okay. Now, it did sort of difference. So that's a generic statement, but most guys on this call will be 12 weeks out. I've got clients, I'm off to Canberra Monday, Tuesday. They're signing up guys for, 2-3 years. I wish we all had that luck. But unfortunately, roughly it's about 12 weeks out. Depends on what you're doing. Sometimes small pieces of work, large piece, whatever. Okay. So at the end of the day, you just got to be mindful that you can't just drop in sales and make sales happen. Yes, you can force things to happen. As example I gave early on about getting on a project winner type thing and start doing dials and scripts and getting things happening. That does give you a quick boost of stuff and activity. It's sales activity. If you go to any CRM, there's a sales activity metric on their dashboard. And the reason why is because if you're not phoning people and doing emails and talking to people and doing all these things, you're not going to force to come with sales. By the way, the RTVA guys who are coming on next have a marketing automation solution that does a lot of the stuff for our clients. Anyway, I want to steal their thunder. They might not even get there. But 2 different funnels, folks, with the marketing funnel and with the sales funnel. Treat them differently. Look at them. Here it can be sometimes a bit of junk. Some junk's in here. Some junk. Okay. But my marketing funnel that I've used with you guys to come onto this call today, I can go on there and I can see anyone who's come on. I can see how many times I've downloaded stuff, how many times they've received messages, how many times I've opened the email, I've got all that stuff. I've got a little hot lead thing, pops up and says, hey, Ian, guess what? At 90 or 90, that scored 90, this guy's hot. We should talk to him. Last year, I didn't find any of those guys, unfortunately. But this year, I promise you I'm going to. So if you're in that top 90, you're going to get a call from me this year. Last year, we're just too busy doing things. All right, having fun on those things. This is marketing. Here we go. All right. So you've got to have campaigns to drive sales. If you don't have campaigns, sometimes, it's not going to work. So you could, the old day of hiring a sales guy, hey, you've got good relationships in the market. Can you go and talk to these clients? Yes, you can get there. He'll pull up his little Word deck, on his iPhone now and have a look at things. But at some point, he's going to go, I don't have envy. I can't leverage. There's nothing I can talk about. There's no brand. There's no capability statements. There's no case studies. These are the things we need to talk about. Okay. So the best way to predict your future is to create it. Yes. There we go. Create this time is slightly different, guys, is because it's marketing. So a bit of a spin there from our team. All right. So what we want to do for you guys in this session, when you get some time, is come up with your marketing plan. Look at your clients' events, put your company holidays in there and breaks and all that stuff, and then basically make sure you got your activities there. We got concepts we call weekly client machine. So how to bring clients in. And that's something that's another thing we teach, but I'm not going to go through it because life's I can't do everything in this session. So there's two funnels: a marketing funnel and a CRM funnel. I think I've covered that enough. Here are all the things you need to do. That you can roughly do that make money in some form or shape. Now, have a look at these things and let me know if there's anything you're missing, because I would love to add to the list, but I doubt there is much left. So some of the things you can do, okay, and you put this in your calendar. So we've got a spreadsheet there. I think it's on Tribe. I hope you got access to it, whatever. There's a spreadsheet that basically does your personal calendar and your calendar. I put the year 2024 in there. And then you've got some of them got the holidays booked out already, whatever. And then in there, you put in what activities you're going to do. Once again, you only can do so much. So think about it carefully. Don't over stress the machine and the business, and then get upset and burn out. Okay, it's not the point. So there are user conferences. Prep. These are the things you need to do. There's drinks sessions you can do. Okay. All right. There's dinners. You can do dinners, networking dinners. There's a couple of good books written out there on Amazon. I've forgotten some of the names because it's just come back from holiday. That basically talk about how to network over dinner. But just Google that. You'll find them on Amazon. Quite a good book to read there. You'll see it's a highly rated one. Lunch and Learns. Great stuff you can do internally. Things you're learning on client sites. You can bring that back. You can polish it up, record it, make it look nice. You can actually extend it to certain clients, your tier 1 clients. Now, you might not know what tier 1 is. It's a mechanism in sales which we take clients through, defining what tier 1, 2, 3 is, mapping that into the marketing automation solution that we've got for our clients. But you can do that on yourselves if you do. Just whatever you do, guys. HubSpot, a lot of clients move off HubSpot onto our tool because of $1,700 when you do marketing automation. It's hell of expensive. So don't fall in love with HubSpot because it's too expensive. At some point in time, you'll get there. Anyway, cold email marketing is limited. As I said early on, it's hard to do, and there's some good things you can do with it, but it's wouldn't be the things I do all the time. Sporting events. I used to do this all the time. I still do some of it myself. And is like, the tennis is coming up in Melbourne Cup. A lot of people take people to the actual Melbourne event. Okay, so Melbourne tennis event.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to it.
So hang on, someone's got this. Someone can mute, please, quickly. Someone's on. Right, good. I think everyone's muted off. Fantastic, whoever that was. All right, so the Melbourne tennis is coming up. So if you're in Melbourne, someone said they're down in Melbourne, but try and get someone to the tennis. A couple of clients, tennis. Brilliant. I went to the tennis the other night. I'm not even a tennis fan, to be honest. First time I've ever been to a tennis. I went to the the United Cup and watched Australia lose, unfortunately, to Germany. But it was amazingly tight. It was an amazing game. I went there through someone else, and I loved it. I couldn't believe it. So there's a lot of events you can do. I used to take them to the Bearslow Cup and all that sort of rugby stuff, because that's that NRL, if you're into that sort of stuff. Raising funds for good cause. You can do that with clients even. Okay, you can get things happening there with clients. So there's a lot of different things you can do. So special guest events. Now, if you are a service provider for a company, a big company, and it's in the US or Europe, they'll have global VPs of this and that, thought leaders. You can get them onto webinars. You can get them. They're all wanting this shit to happen. You believe it or not. You phone the guy up directly and say, hey, I'm from Australia. We're running a consultancy firm of 5 people. Or don't tell them how big it is. Maybe if it's only 5, skip that part. But say, hey, look, we would love to have you for a 25-minute webinar. Here are the questions we'd love to ask you. If you want to ask us to ask you any different questions, let us know. And let's get you on a webinar. Okay, brilliant. How cool is that? If you're not doing that sort of stuff, it's so easy. You don't have to prep for it. You just have to write up the questions. Okay. So that's another thing you can get as well. Really important. There's so many of these people that need, I call them overlay type jobs, overlay roles in these big software companies like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, SAP, all these guys. They've got overlay people, like they're all looking for a reason to tick a box. And that's one of the boxes they got to tick. Spoke a bit about that. This is important. Community events. Now you can do it as like a user group or a community event. Imagine taking 10 to 15 people, your customers, out for a drink once a quarter, or a meal, a cheap meal once a quarter, not too cheap, but decently enough to tick the box. 15 customers, and all you do is just ask a couple of questions in that dinner, and you get them to talk to each other. Because one of the things is, if you're a niche and you specialize in what you're doing, is you start to realize they've got the same problem as everyone else. That's why you're in a job. If you get them to talk to each other, guess what's going to happen? You're going to look like, you're the thought leader. You are going to be in such a good situation because you're bringing people along to talk to other people. They don't get that opportunity to do this. So it's very important, folks, if you can, to become the community leader of a small little community. All right. And you can do it in Sydney, Melbourne. You can do whatever you want to do. There's so many opportunities around that. It works really powerful. And it could be, principal, like, lead developers, if you want, or technical people, whatever it is. Get the people and create a little community. Okay. All right. So many of my clients are doing this because I've been telling them to do it for a while. It is rocking really well. I'm a big believer in it. Okay. Webinars. We do this all day long. You've got to do this to get the marketing. It flows into the marketing funnel. And you build so much content out of it. You push the team to actually develop stuff. So you actually, you've got an idea of a service, an offering, but you're not doing it because you're too busy. A webinar brings that date closer, and you actually jump on and you do it properly. And it's really good. SEO is limited, as I said, because no one really Googles us for help. Let's be honest. I've got the stats to prove that. All my clients, hey, jump on what's your website look like? Gee, you spent 40 grand on your website. What a load of money, a waste of money, half the time. That's what I say. MDF, you guys would know that if you are in that area of things, but those software companies have funds to give to you, believe it or not. So you can jump on that. Anyway, LinkedIn marketing, I'm a big believer in that. Personally, we've got a whole course in that internally. Our clients come on, we get them onto the course, and then the VA guys offshore do the work manually and make sure that they get things built out of that way. It's really important. That's important. Okay, reviews, testimonials, limited. All right, social media. There's tons of stuff to go through, folks. Tons of stuff. Content marketing via LinkedIn. That's really good. I'm actually starting, by the way, guys. I've been saying this for a while. I'm starting a podcast show. Supposed to be this year. I don't know when it's going to be. It's probably February, March, because I'm traveling coming up the next couple of weeks. When I get back, I'm going to be starting a podcasting show, and I'm going to be talking to people like you who's got challenges and who's doing things and what they've learned. And basically from there, people can log on or listen to them via podcast and see what they're doing. But for me, it's marketing myself, because some of them will be my clients. Some of them will be going, hey, Ian, like, you're an awesome guy and you're doing some awesome stuff for them. And so I don't even have to ask them to do that. They're going to do it naturally because I've done some awesome stuff for them. If I ask them to sit down and write, believe it or not, if I ask them to sit down and say, hey, write a LinkedIn review, put it onto my LinkedIn profile, no one does it. No one does it. But if I get them to come to a half an hour podcast session where they can talk, all of them will do it. It's quite crazy, isn't it? So it's just a different medium. Client workshops, all right? So there are so many ways we help clients do this. Help win more. This is what we say. Referral programs. This has worked, and there is certain caveats. So I'll tell you a bit about the referral programs. It's big in the US, big in Europe, and I don't know why it's not big here. So what actually happens in the US is that even the software, I spoke to a company about a year ago, can we have this referral software? Where basically is I could help my clients that I coach refer each other to opportunities. Like, $10,000. Well, that's a lot of cash. That's, what I mean? That's like a full-on system. That's per month, by the way. So I said, no, I'm not doing that. So the problem with using partners and becoming partners and working within the community, it's really hard. And this is one of the things we foster at Loading Growth. And it is improving. It's not perfect, but it's definitely, improved in the last year and a half. So if one of my clients goes out and sees an opportunity or hears about an opportunity that is not in their domain, and they know one of my other clients in this area, they will actually shoot them across a message through our platform. Hey, we've got this opportunity. Here it is. This is the person you need to speak to. I'll do an intro by email. Bang. How good is that? Now, they don't get commission, all that stuff, which is what they do in the US and Europe, but it's better than nothing, and it's working. I think we did this, 2 clients got work, actual billable work in December last year, just through that process, because I remember looking at those numbers just before I left on holiday. So it definitely does work. I know another client or 2 already sent referrals, because they often copy me on them, just so I can keep tally and keep motivated with each other helping. But the challenge is when you go and do that outside of a community like this, and this is not a pitch for Loading Growth, guys, is when you're working with other partners, they will sort of, yeah, we'll do that, but they don't do it because they're worried about their business and their focus is on their business. Focus is not on your business. So it's really hard to work with partners to actually do things. Really, really hard. I've tried it so many years as a company owner. It's a bit difficult. So referral programs still out there. Customer success stories, we know that. Influencer collaborations, a lot of that stuff's happening in the US. We're getting that happening more and more here around that, believe it or not, in this space. So it's getting bigger and bigger in influencing. So you'll see it. So some thought leaders have written books and everything else will start mentioning, oh, this is a problem that I got challenged with the other day. And one of my clients came along and solved the problem, and off they went and did it. So, those are the type of things they're starting to influence. And it's actually, it's more in the US than anywhere else at the moment, but it slowly will come here. Okay. All right. Here we go. Company building, all those type of things. This here, folks, community building. I was down in Melbourne recently, and I met one of my clients, and they got a knock on the door, and then like a WeWork type office with a big office, but in a WeWork type of office, they got a knock on the door, and basically someone from the team of the company there said, "Hey, we've got drinks and food and all that stuff. Would you like to pop up? It's Friday afternoon." I thought, well, we're with the team and it's a good time to break. Let's go upstairs. We went upstairs. They had everything laid on, food, everything else. And what they're trying to foster there is a community, a sense of being, a sense of a community. That's what really a community is about. Now, that's what you guys can do internally for your team. Once every 2-3 weeks, get the guys together on a Thursday. Thursdays and New Fridays. Have a community building event there, but also include a few of your customers that are nearby, or people they work with. They don't have to be senior people. They could be mid-level people. It doesn't matter. All right, a lot of things you can do. Demos on LinkedIn, that's also increasing. I've been hounded by LinkedIn for so long. Finally, I caved in, and I'm off, I think, next week, Thursday. They've got me on a program of theirs to create more content, because obviously they are a content platform, and the more people consume their content on their platform, it is better for them. So I'll let you know how that goes. It's a 6-week session, once a week, call in with them, and I don't know what I've got to do, but my team filled it out. So I'm going to sort that out next week, Thursday, just as I'm jumping on the airplane. All right, so data analytics for marketing, we all know that. Newsletters. Newsletters via LinkedIn, guys. That's a big positive. It's a bit hard to set up and get going, and so newsletters are a big rage in LinkedIn at the moment around that thought leadership. You've got to be doing something like that. Blogs, socials, you can actually feed into that using ChatGPT, a whole lot of stuff in those computer programs. There's a whole stuff we do as well for our clients there in the ITVA, and then market your database. The other thing is, how many offers are you guys putting out there per week? It's one of the things I always say around marketing. If you battling to put out offers or make opportunities happen with clients or an area of clients, the reason why you're not actually doing that is because the marketing campaigns or the process of marketing is not working well enough. Okay, so that's really what you should be looking at. Anyway, I'm going to stop for the moment.
So webinars are a great way to showcase what you guys do out in the market. You just go to the next slide, please, January. So we only specialize in IT services companies. Okay, it's what we specialize in. Hence, we work with Ian and Loading Growth and a lot of his clients to do webinars. Because that's our forte. That's where we know where we can help people. We understand what the conditions are with regards to requirements and what it takes to deliver webinars and how much effort it takes. That's why we only specifically look at one streamline, and that is IT services and software companies. We don't go outsource into multiple sectors of the market. Okay, so next slide, please, Dan. So what do we offer here at RTDA Company? Predominantly, we are known as a webinar service company, but we do branch off to other sort of marketing, which ties in with what you need to do with webinar. That's mostly to do with LinkedIn marketing. And in the LinkedIn marketing is vital that you guys be able to provide a platform where you guys can actually grow your database, because it's important when you start launching or thinking about doing webinars that who you're going to actually go and attract to your webinars. You've got to go and think about what database have you guys got? How are you guys going to go about generating a database? So that's where your LinkedIn marketing and doing your optimization and doing lead generation is a vital part, critical part of doing webinars. Without a database, obviously you can't do any marketing. And coupled with that, with our specific LinkedIn stuff that we do and webinars that we do, we run what we call the IMA tool, which is an automated marketing machine that we run in conjunction with all our webinars and all our LinkedIn optimization that we do. It's a platform that's very useful, very simple to use, and it's very effective and low cost. Okay. Obviously, coupled with LinkedIn marketing, we've got our social media campaigns that we run when we specifically go into the marketing, which I'll show you now for doing webinars. It's vitally important to be consistent and what messages you guys are portraying out there in social media and actually leading up to people on what they can expect from a specific webinar. And obviously, everything about marketing is about educating your clients that you're trying to reach and trying to do business with. That's the biggest problem that people have in the industry about hurdles, is not educating the specific clients. The other big thing is not ascertaining on who your right target market is and who are the right people that you're going to go and speak to. Okay, so that's where we really drill down on our LinkedIn marketing campaigns that we run. Okay, obviously coupled with webinars, what we do is generally with what we do is we do graphic design and we do video editing. So all our webinars that we record, we snippet them up. We want to do multi-purpose them, and we do, especially when we're doing speakers, guest speakers, we like to keep it short and simple. And what we use is then we go and do video editing and graphic design around a specific topic that guest speaker speaks about. We go and package it up all nicely, and therefore the clients can go and use that with any specific customers that come in and asking specific questions. So webinars are very good for utilizing, and if you do it properly, you can always repurpose the material all the time. Okay. And people ask me, hey, well, what happens if not a lot of people pitch up and turn up? It's about taking the first step about doing webinars. It's not going to be perfect every time you do it for the first time. People generally, when they come on board with us for webinars, they do 4 to 6 webinars in the year. It depends on how their workload is. But every time they do a webinar with us, it gets better and better. Okay. Obviously, we also got VAs that we can help our clients with that we do generally for lead gen and accounting purposes, but that's just some of our services that we provide. Okay, Jolie. Okay, so a standard webinar, it's pretty basic that we go into. As it states there, it starts at 2,495 Australian dollars, and there are customized webinars that we do offer, but the base rate that we do, and there's a lot of information, a lot of stuff that we do at that specific price point. Okay, but I just want to take you through the process of what webinars are all about. Okay, so people have a good understanding. Okay, Jenny? Right, so this is this framework that we use on what we do as a team. Okay, as you can see, it takes 7 weeks to prepare to do a webinar. Webinars are not a just one-hit wonder solution. Okay, there's a lot of thought process that goes into doing webinars, and there are a lot of steps and a lot of moving parts with regards to delivering a very good, high quality webinar. Okay, so we've chunked it down into very specific steps so everybody understands exactly how the webinar runs, what we're responsible for, and then the next slide generally. We'll make this slide available to you guys if you'd like it, just so you guys can understand on all the working mechanisms with regards to webinars. Okay, so why does this process take so long is because all our clients, we say to them, if you want to run a webinar, okay, it takes time to go and sit down as a group of individuals and understand what topic are we going to talk about, okay? Who are we going to go and target? Who's going to come up with all the content, okay? That all has to come from the client team. When are we going to do the webinar? Are there any specific live events that we can utilize a webinar leading up to a live event, okay? So there's a lot of teamwork with regards to companies that they have to understand that there's a lot of preparation prior to even engaging and even starting of thinking of even marketing. Because what we want to do is market a webinar for 4 full weeks. Okay, 4 full weeks of marketing. Why we do that is because, as you can see in Ian's calendar, people are very busy. They've already pre-booked a lot of their vacations, their business travel, other commitments that they've got with clients. So it takes a long time to actually sit down as a team to collate all the content that you require and ascertain and how you're going to do this presentation. Obviously, if you're going to get in guest speakers from externally, you have to arrange those guest speakers, who they're going to be, how they're going to tie in with the webinar. And also, when we do all our webinars, is when we do guest speakers, it's a very tricky situation is where we need to do mock and dress rehearsals. So we do that at least twice before we actually do the live event, because we give recommendations on speech. You guys are talking clearly, are you graphic simple, and all those type of information that they can tweak it better for the next rehearsal. And then once they get to the live rehearsal, then it looks as though that this is not their first webinar they've ever delivered. So that's why I'm saying there's a huge amount of information and a lot of moving parts that is involved in moving forward for a webinar. Okay, so we do other services. As I said, we do marketing automation. So there's IMA, lead nurturing. There's a lot of qualifications. What should be the frequency of webinars? Frequency of webinars, it depends. So obviously, as I said, it's 7 weeks to do a webinar. It's 4 weeks of doing actual marketing. It's a further 2 weeks thereafter that we go and do follow-ups and all of that type of stuff and information. So it's a 10-week process to do a webinar. Okay, so you can imagine that you've got to do all the prep work to do one webinar in 10 weeks. Most of our clients do it in a quarterly basis. They do 4 webinars a year. Some clients do it twice because they're in a different industry where they have got live events coming up. So they only pre-program and have a bigger event twice a year. And it depends on your target audience, because obviously doing webinars, it's a very crowded space, and it's very important on what topic you guys are going to choose. Is it relevant to your clients now? How important and what pain points does your service or your product offer to actually help those clients out? So it's a bit of a gauge in your market to understand that maybe there are system changes, maybe there's new AI coming up, or there's new integration tools that are going to be used coming up in the market because you've been to shows and conferences. Then you start gearing yourself up to be the thought leader on giving your information out there and when are you going to launch it. So I hope that answers your question. It's different for different companies, but 4 is the norm, 2 is the least I would go, and that depends how big you are. But 4 is a magic number. Okay, right, next.
Webinars just gets you to create content as well.
Okay, so another question there is, thanks, ideal length, duration of a webinar? Great question. It depends on your topic, first and foremost. The shorter, the better. And the sharper it is, the much better it is, because you're very specific to a point. It is different between if you are going to be selling a product or you're selling a service. Far more difficult to try and sell a service. People who generally sell services take a more of a longer approach with webinars. They do at least 4 to 6 webinars, and that is just education in terms of getting new clients, prospective clients, to understand what services they offer and who they are, and build a rapport and a relationship. If it's a product, it's very short, just 25 to 30 minutes, and then they have a quick Q&A. But then they bring specialists and guest speakers. So it's a very short and sharp conversation that you have. Other clients that we have, they sort of format a 4 mini webinar package, whereas they have one specific topic for those 4 webinars, but they drill it down to very small intermediate webinars, say 20 minutes, 25 minutes for each webinar at set dates. And then at the end, they have them a wrap up of the whole webinar on that specific topic. So there's different tactics that people do have, but 25 to 30 minutes is the ideal webinar, because if you jump on a webinar, you've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to invest my time and my effort to go and listen to that topic? And that'll answer your question first and foremost. Okay, all good. So coupled with webinars, we do social media campaign. So obviously we help with a lot of that is doing your LinkedIn profile. We're doing posts, we're doing newsletters, we're doing social media. There's a lot of groups, obviously, that we try and roll up and get your services onto. But first and foremost, everything is digital. So you got to make sure that everything that you guys do before even doing webinars and making sure your website's up to date, your LinkedIn profile is up to date, all your content is up to date on your webinars, for your webinars, and also on your social media posts. Okay. Next, right. So this is actually where Jana Lee, who's one of our people on today, this is what she helps us with brand packaging and graphic design, all the video editing that we do with regards to all the webinars, how we package up when we work with clients. We also design small landing pages and web designs using another platform that we've got. So people that are just startup companies that just want to start up at a low price point, there is a means and ways that we can help you guys with. Okay. Right, VAs, everybody's probably heard of VAs. How can VAs help us? As I said, is that our main focus is going to be the marketing and creative side of VAs. That's all we're good at. But we do have people that help other clients in the operations side, being mainly finance. Okay. And then obviously when you guys get busy about booking calendars and your database management, which is important, it's coupled with your LinkedIn database. It's important to keep that all up to date and understanding, because at the end of the day, you guys are trying to run a business, you're trying to win clients, and you're trying to win work. So you need that extra work at a price point that you guys can relatively afford. Okay. Right. So those are all the marketing solutions that we give here at RTVA. A lot of those we in depth, but as I said, webinars, LinkedIn marketing is a big part of what we do for all of our clients. We do help clients when they're doing live events. We help them with their social media campaigns, their creativity with regards to the branding on what they need to put on as posts, LinkedIn posts and so forth, prior to them doing live events, which is important because you need people to be made aware of what happened to live events, personal invites on live events. That's what we help our clients do as well. Okay, that's about it, short and simple. That's what we do at the RTVA company.
I think, PJ, I think one of the things I could say is using you guys is you've got to plan everything out in advance. So they've only got a certain size of a team and they do 3 or 4 webinars on average a month at the moment, 4 webinars, I think, on a month. So you can't just, 3 companies come along and say you want to do it. Well, they've got 4 other companies. It just doesn't work that way. It's not scalable that way. So you can't have like 8 or 10 webinars we do in 1 month. The RTVA. So you just got to make sure that you book your stuff in advance. The other thing, it's better that if you book it up in advance, like 4 or 5 months out, you've got time, you've got the team behind you, your team I'm talking about, as in your consulting business, making sure things are sorted out properly. And that's when you get a better result. You want the best result if you're spending any money on anything, without a doubt, to make sure you get return on investment. And the guys that do this properly are getting 80 to 90 people coming to a webinar. And some are getting 20 people, 30 people. It depends on how much effort they're putting in. It depends on what's hot as well. But the most important thing is they're building their database, the email database, and they can email people and they can actually communicate people through the same content they're putting on blogs now through email. So it's a hell of a multi-dimensional type of marketing strategy. That's why it's marketing automation and that system they use behind that all. Okay, I think that's about it. PJ, I just thought.
Yeah, I think it's very important that you guys have a look at, as Ian has just gone over with the preloaded calendar, is to have a look, when does it fit into actually do your marketing in essence. That's vitally important to have a look at that, because as I said, it takes a lot of effort. It's like for everybody that use ChatGPT, garbage in is garbage out. So the more effort you put into your webinars and your campaigns that you run, is definitely the show up rate is much better. It's not just the show up rate, it's also the people that actually register and show interest. Okay, so that's very important. That's why, as Ian said, those people who put the time and effort to actually think about and strategize on how they're going to do their webinars have far more reaching results than those people that just think that a webinar is just a 4-week planning thing and jump onto a call and answer some questions.
It's crazy. That's what a lot of people don't think webinars work, is because they're not planning for it properly and they just fall over. And it's the biggest thing we can use. So much cheaper than going to the actual physical event. But people just, got to make sure that they understand that that's what you get if you don't put the effort into it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. All right. So, all right, let's crack on. So I want to really wrap this up. I'm going to have 10 to 15 minutes at the end of this. Any questions you folks want, just stay on. Okay. And that's, I'm doing this 6 times a year. And that's hopefully help you guys move forward. All right. So all the things we're talking about, how do we execute on them? All right. How do we actually, the important thing is, when I get together with people and clients and talk about how we execute it, they don't have enough time. So one of the biggest challenges when I speak to someone, they want me on board. I'll give you an example. Ian, we want you on board to coach. Great, that's nice. We just don't have the time. I'll give you an example. A potential client who I know all the owners pretty well from various things we do. Basically said, Ian, we want you to come on board. Let's start March. Got this before Christmas. March, geez, that's like 3 months away. But anyway, the reason why they just don't have time. That's the example that, that's the biggest problem that people have. They don't have time. And I call bullshit on that. It's just, you're not making time for the right priorities. So, coaching's not for everyone. I'm not telling you a hard pitch. If you go to gym every day and you're one of these guys that's very motivated, go to gym and does Ironman and all these type of stuff, and that's great. Some people can do that, not many. Some people need a PT instructor or a friend to pick them up and drop them off. Okay, and that's how important. I got coaches that coach me on stuff. Okay, so all I'm going to say is, one of the biggest things that people say to me is, we don't have time. And I'm going like, are you serious? You don't have time to actually run your business, to make money, to make profit, real profit, to change your lives, to do whatever you want with that money. Money is a good thing. Believe me, folks. Everyone thinks money is bad. It's because they don't have the money. When you've got lots of money and you're doing the right thing, that's good. You can then make choices for yourself, your family, that no one else can. So people say that money is bad, money is evil. Well, mate, good luck for them. All I want to say to you, though, is this is the way we actually take people through. One of the things we do is make sure that they create time in the calendar to do the right things. I've got another thing that's I'm very passionate about. It's called the right next thing. This is what I coach. I've got a roadmap. I'm not going to go through this in detail. I'm going to show you a roadmap. I could pull you up, and I'm tired now. I've got a roadmap, and in that roadmap, we just work on what is the right next thing for you and your company to focus on. Don't focus on anything else. Let's lock in load, and let's do that. And we stop doing the other 100 initiatives that you want to do. because you're getting nowhere. You're burning yourselves up. This is hard. Like the best companies from start to finish that actually sell for a profitable amount of money takes 8 years if you hit everything out the park. All right, everything out the park, it takes you about 8 years. I got a company that sent me information today to buy company. And the first thing I look at, I go, mate, that's not a, like, he's doing very well because very great, but small company. He's burnt out. This guy's burnt out. He's burnt out. He can't survive another year. All right. It's because he hasn't got himself organized. All right. So all the things we're talking about, you can achieve. You've got to be disciplined, and you've got to have what we call the preloaded calendar. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is one of the things that sets you free. Okay. You're not going to work harder. You're going to work smarter, and you're going to say no to a lot of things. So saying no to a lot of things is very important. Very important. A lot of people basically can't say no. Right. So that is the important thing we've got to be able to learn. Say no, because you know what? It's not on my calendar. It's not on my QBR. It's not on my plan. Right. Someone comes to you and says, hey, we want to start a new services line. We should do this. This is great. AI. It's going hot. It's fantastic. At the end of the day, I say, oh, mate, let me tell you, I think you're crazy. You've got so many other things you're doing well. Let's just wait for everyone else to work out what does AI actually mean before you spend, 250 grand in the next 6 months to get it working. Let's wait 6 months. Okay, that could be the way. It could be the process. All right, on the slides, what we try and do is we want to make sure we do this. Okay, it's called the stop, start, and continue. All right, so this is what we're trying to do. This is what I want you guys to do. It's a good time of the year. There's one thing you're going to do from this session today. There's one thing you're going to do. You're going to do this. All right, you're going to work on what you're going to do for 2024. 2024, and I call it season, by the way. And the reason why I call it season 24 is because I make it fun. I don't want to make it freaking hard, because it is hard generally. I'm not lying to you. It's not. I'm not selling you something that's actually not true. It's fun, without a doubt, and it is hard, but it's what life's about. If you want to shoot the lights out, then unfortunately nothing really is easy. All right, this needs to be completed in January. This is what I do with my clients. I'm going to be doing with them, some of them still. Start, continue. All right, so what is continue? Continue is what we are doing, and should we continue in 2024? So just bear that in mind. So you can write, if you don't have the slides, print it out, whatever, and you've got an iPad, pull up a sheet on the iPad or Notability or OneNote, whatever you got. If you don't have something, pull, a sheet of A4 from your kid's notebook, whatever, and just draw those circles. I'm going to show you a bit more. But the things we want to talk about is continue, what we're doing and should continue, stop. What are we not doing well and should stop doing? All right? There's a lot of that stuff happening. And start, what should we start doing in 2024? All right? Now, these are the three things, the markers. This is the metric. This is the way we're going to run this exercise. Right? This is season 24. We want to be operationally very effective. We want to be in control of our business, and we want to be a cash machine. That's how I talk, and that's how we get together with my clients who want to make sure we're doing the right things. Okay. But if you do everything, chances are you're not going to get that. All right. All right. Some things that you can think about while you're writing this up. It's going to take a while. So don't rush. Take the weekend. If you've got time, the kids wake up at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, get up at 5:30, go down to the beach, wherever you live, and stroll around the beach and have a look and think about it, have a coffee, and just take your notebook and do this activity. It's brilliant to really dig deep and think about this. But think about this. If your dearest relationships are strained, does it affect your business? Your closest relationships are strained, does it affect your business? Of course it does. If your health is sacrificed, does it affect your decision-making? Of course it does. If you're not healthy and fit and mentally clear and thinking clearly, your decision-making process is harder. If your goals in life are wrapped around your business self, does it actually affect your total confidence? Yeah. All right. So you've got to have a way to manage that. Work-life balance. I know it's a bit of work here, a bit of off time, on time, whatever you want to call it. So this is why we want to plan 2024 as the best as possible. All right. So the best, here we come. I remember the best quote. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Wow, how good is that? It's great, really a great quote. That means if you want to crush 24, you have to plan for it to happen. I created a preloaded calendar training, and there's a bit more along this, alongside our coaches, so that you can run 2024 by design, not by default. Life by design. Design your life, whatever you want to call it. There's those things, not by default. If you just go to work today or Monday next week and you start like you finished 24 or 23, your life is in chaos generally. Okay, so take control back of your life. Take control back of your business. Right? If you want to stay focused on growth month on month, these are the things you got to do. Okay. You know them already, but we're going to do this. So we're going to do right here first. Stop. Right? Right there, start. And here, continue. All right. So what are we going to stop doing? Easy thing to do, I always say stop is because we've just finished 23. We know what the things are. You all had time to reflect on things, hopefully. What are we going to stop doing? All right. Maybe it's micromanaging. And that's the team. So you might have 3 or 4 people you work with. You might have 40. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. But one of the biggest challenges leaders in IT services have is they're very, very good at what they do. They are like the architects that go to clients and they win over the client because you know what? They're the smartest guy in that room. And they are really good at it. And they love it. And they get a thrill out of it. I was that guy. Okay? No difference. Majority are. There's only 2 types of founders we have when we get into our business, by the way, we coach. They're the ones that can sell anything, but can't deliver anything. And then they're the ones that are freaking brilliant at technical delivery and are walking on water. The other 1 or 2. That's the majority of the people that come to our business. We talk about it when we actually onboard our clients. What are you? Let's get understanding. So when I can coach, I can know what position I'm coaching from. So the thing is, micromanaging is one of the biggest challenges if you are a really good delivery guy. Now, it's funny enough, delivery guys are really good at delivering with teams, and they are getting an outcome. That's brilliant. Manager, when they come internally, they don't know how to deliver internally. They don't know how to manage a team. They don't know how to inspire teams. They don't know how to do a lot of stuff. So at the end of the day, you've got to make sure, okay, that we look at what we're good at and what we're not good at and where we are overstepping our boundary within our organization. So some people are actually causing more harm in their organization than they actually think. So it's a good time to think about what are you actually doing? You could be destroying relationships internally. You could be pushing people over the edge, irritating them. You could do whatever you are. You know what they are, right? You really do. You just got to think about it. Think about all the interactions over the last year. Why do people leave? You know, why do people get upset and walk out the room and get upset or something like that? Let's think about it. Were you talking to them in a nice way? What is the thing? So it could be micromanaging them. It could be one of those things. It could be lack of leadership. Like, I see this all the time. And these are examples I was writing down from clients. I think of people just don't know where they're going in their own company. Like, it's like they're rudderless. So I'll go to a client, and the first thing I do when I go see some of the clients, I get to know. I say, hey, if you got this problem, who do you go to? I go to that person. Great. If you got this problem, who do you go to? Don't know. I go to either those 2 or 3 people. That's roles, responsibilities, swim lanes. That's structure, that's leadership, that's mindset. There's a whole lot of stuff wrapped in that. So where are you actually battling with that stuff? Okay. So lack of leadership could be, all right. It could be, so this could be like, for example, on this opposite side, setting up roles. Swim lanes. Could be things like that. All right. All these things, sometimes have an opposite effect. So you can write them down as you go through. If you're writing something down, you go, oh, continue. This is what we're doing well. Great. We could be doing lunch and learns. So our team is developing methodology, learning about what this project, what we solve, what we're doing. It could be, 3-day work week. Got that routine working now. It could be once a month company drinks. I don't know what it is, guys. For you guys, you can write them down. So spend 5 minutes at least. Normally when I do this with clients, I say, spend 5 minutes. I spend 5 minutes each one of these areas. And then I'll get them to go away and spend, an hour or two on the stuff. Okay. And then they come back and they show me. And it's very similar to a lot of people. That's why I only coach IT services. I actually initially went and started coaching other companies when I finished, and I got really good success, but it was just more work for me. It's really like, I love coaching. I love helping people out. But I went to a manufacturing company, man, we're in gangbusters with them. I loved it. But the problem with that is I had to learn all about real manufacturing. And I loved the learning part, but I got a bit exhausted by keeping learning something new because I had to be good at it. And realized, shit, I go back to something like I know now, and I'm good at it. I'm learning. I still am learning, but I'm not learning at the pace that I need to. And I can give, and I can make the indicator on the speedo go faster for my clients. So that's the reason why I do only IC services. All right. So these are things that you can write down. Keep on writing them down. Continue. Stop, start. So we get a list of things you've got to do. Now, it could be things that you're doing that you need to hand over to someone. So you could be saying, hey, I'm good at this. I'm doing this. Great. But it's time to hand over the baton to someone else on the team. Fantastic. Put that down. All right. So you want to say stop, continue, start. As I was saying, hell of important. All right. Stop, continue, start. To write them down, take thoughts. And you can do this with your team. A simple exercise. You can go on a whiteboard and just ask them to do that. All right. Now, with a preloaded calendar, there's a couple of things I'm always very passionate about. For me, it's cash flow. We all know cash flow is king. Profitability. Profitability, hell of important. Hell of important to be profitable. You don't stress yourself out. I want to only think once, guys. Think once. Let's be honest. We don't want to spend energy thinking. The problem is you wake up in the morning and you're rushing across the road to my coffee shop. I've got coffee shops around me. I'm lucky. I cruise across the coffee shop and go, oh, which coffee shop today? Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm wearing my actual decision-making process. I'm wearing myself down, believe it or not. It's not me. A lot of studies. I've read a lot of stuff in books and blogs and everything else. And by lunchtime, you're tired. Shit, you have lunch, you're even more tired because you've eaten a whole lot of carbs and you're feeling saggy by the table. And then it's like, oh, shit, now I'm battling to kick into, 2 o'clock, back into work mode. Waste an hour and a half. Still tired, don't want to make decisions. You're grumpy, hard to talk to people. And you're just like, oh, man, what am I doing here? So you've got to switch your days around. Your most creative time in the day to solve problems, which is what we're doing all the time in our business, is to do them in the morning. In the afternoon is execution time. So we're really good at executing and we're really good at problem solving. I mentioned this earlier on today, but we just got to know what time of the day that we're good at it and what time we're not. Now, this is 90% of the time. Some people are night owls and they like to work later at night or whatever, and that's good for them. But majority of us actually are really creative, and problem solving is what the things we do around creativity, and we do in the morning, and now we're good at that. All right. Afternoon, execution. So set your meetings up. If it's just following up and stuff and those types of making decisions, basic decisions, afternoon. If you're trying to solve a problem, if you're trying to come up with a new process or something that's got to change your game and your business for 2024, that is in the morning. But you bring this whole thing together with this preloaded calendar, and that's where you only think once. Okay. Milestones. You've got to have milestones. What are the things that you got to launch and laugh and high five when you're making the money? You got to actually pat yourself on the back. You got to say, hey, these are the things to actually make money. What are the things in your business that are actually chomping and making money? And you're going, shit, that's great. We just sold that deal. That's that. We've got this happening. What are the things that are actually making money in your business? Get to know them really crystal clear. Put them down as indicators. Put them in your actual thing. So it could be marketing. You know, for example, if you have an event or a webinar, and 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, you get a client. I know every time I do the event like this, I pick up minimum 2 clients. So I've already got 4 or 5 people that come in through the session. I think have sent me messages and signed up for time slots with me. I'm going to go through, help them out. Some are not ready, some will be ready, and I'll probably take out 2. All right, that's it. If you don't know those metrics, you're not going to do this event. You're not going to put this effort into it. There's a whole lot of stuff. I do get a lot of referrals, by the way. So that's another thing that happens. Anyway, stress test. Once you've got this plan together, what you've got to really focus on doing is you've got to focus on putting this thing through a bit of a stress test to see if it actually works. There's no point putting a plan together and then halfway through just falling over and killing yourself. Then you've got to make sure you work the plan again just to make sure that it really is refined. This is, I said, 2 to 3 week process for me in November. What you can do is start to think about the big rocks. What are the big things you're going to do this year to help plan? Revenue targets. I've got to be around. What are the clients? It could be clients, number of clients. It could be number of free days. It could be the revenue, whatever it is that you want to do. And you can add whatever you want, guys. These are just things that we use normally with our clients. What are we doing? Where are we making the money? What frequency are we doing it? And what are we going to be doing end of this year, end of next year? What are the big things we're going to be doing? These things need to be written down here from your QBR or from your yearly plan, and then put that into action in your preloaded calendar. And this is what you execute on. Okay, preloaded calendar is by execution. And then from there, we've got the pebbles and we've got the sand. Now, I'm just going to show you something here quickly. This is how this thing works. All right. Once you've written that stuff all down, okay, I'm just going to get this to you. It's doing like this. You take once again, my drawing's pretty shocking because I've only just got back. Jeez, it's horrific. She's not much better. That's a jar. Just think that's a jar. Okay. Come on. One more chance. One more chance, Ian. All right. And now I need to make that bigger. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I've got rocks. All right. I've got pebbles. And I've got sand. Now, what happens is people get all these ideas, think it's fantastic, and they want to go and throw all those ideas. Okay. All right. Just getting that right. Last chance. Get that right. Quite fair. These guys get these ideas and go, this is what you guys are doing at the moment. And I'm telling you, I used to do the damn same thing. Until one of my coaches took me through this. He says, Ian, you got all this shit happening. That's great. That's fantastic. But he goes, how are you fitting all that stuff? So you take your rocks, you stick them in there. You take your pebbles, you stick them in there. Take the sand, and you're hoping the sand will fit in there. Its stuff is going to start to overflow. All right? It's impossible. How many times you look at each other and go, mate, I can't believe it's the end of the Friday, it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you're reflecting on your week and you go, I actually don't know what I even achieved. I don't know how I achieved it. And if I did achieve something that's fantastic, I can't remember what I achieved. I've just blown everything away, but it's just exhausting. You can only do that for so long, guys. And then you sell your business for a rock piece, or no one wants to buy your business, like I saw this morning on the expression of interest. It came out to me and I look at it and go back, who wants to buy that? It's like, no one. Good luck selling that. You're exhausted. I don't know those people, but I can tell you that's the thing. So once you've done that, work out the plans, work out the money-making things, the frequencies. The people. Then it's the sand, guys. This is the part that you really should think about. wrong key. This is the part where you go, the SAN's the personal stuff. So you got to keep your personal life in balance. I battle this to this day. Okay, so it's not perfect, and I do fight myself. So because I love working. So basically, personal learning development, planning days, team training, family events. Put them down. Put them down. Write them all down. Put them all down. You might have friends. You're just like, no, I've got 3 or 4 good close mates. I've got their birthdays in there. I don't know if they're going to do things in September. I have no clue. But at least it's in there. So if they're going to do something in September, a month out, they phone me up, hey, I'm going to do something for birthday. All right, I've got it locked in. Don't worry about it. Fantastic. How cool is that? If they don't do anything about it, I just delete it out of the calendar. Bang. Simple. So I put this all in there, and then I put that on the spreadsheet. You can do a reverse bucket list, by the way, which I've got filled up as well, because I'm doing all my things. I've got 100 things on my bucket list. Well, it's gone down to about 80, but I'm just ticking things off as I go. All right. Then you put all that into the spreadsheet. Do not, I'm saying this, folks, do not try and put this into Outlook. Outlook is bad for this type of stuff. I use Outlook calendar all the time. I love Outlook. I love Microsoft products, but do not try and stick this into Outlook. Do this on the spreadsheet first so you can stress test it, and then you can show your team what's happening as well. And then you know, so normally on that that view, I have the legends at the bottom of what I'm doing, so it makes sense. But at the end of the day, make sure you stress test it and everything else. Go back to this once a quarter, have a look at it, update it, and off you go. Do not try and go straight into Outlook. Doesn't work. Now, you might have a 0.5 of an activity. Well, you can overlay stuff in the spreadsheet. Just put more rows in the spreadsheet. Like, you know, Monday, I might do 2 things. So you put 2 colors in there every Monday. Okay, it could be certain things. All right. Enough said on that. It's powerful. Takes a bit of time. But once you do it, it sets you free. All right. I think it's anyone else can reach out to me on the normal story things on LinkedIn and everything else. Facebook, you guys can follow me on Facebook. I do some stuff as well. And LinkedIn, you're probably all on with me in LinkedIn, so just keep following me. Any questions, get through on LinkedIn to me. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. Awesome for 2024. Good luck. And hope you crush it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.